Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Real America. I'm your host, John J. Seiler. On the phone is Mr. Thompson, Mr. John Thompson. John, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome to another crazed, packed night of, all kind of sobriety happening here on Real America.
All all kind of sobriety, indeed.
All kinds, yeah. A lot of stuff. I guess the thing that jumps right out first and foremost would be everything happening in Egypt. That's still playing out in the streets.
In the streets, and apparently Leon Panetta, head of the CIA, it didn't go the way he thought it would
Yeah,
today. He
imagine
thought
that.
Mubarak was going to step down, and yeah, we got that one wrong. We got that. We tend to get those things wrong. You know, the big things. It's pretty interesting. You know, like the CIA thought that the Soviet Union wouldn't collapse, and we were getting calls from all over the former Soviet states saying, "What do we do now?"
Right? Yeah.
And George Bush goes, no, it's okay. Go back. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. No, it's not. We're free."
Yeah. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Yeah. All is well. All is well. Yeah. As the building is burning and falling
Yeah.
apart. Right? All is well. Go back to your homes. Yeah, all I heard on the news today was that he was going to step down. He'll be stepping down today. He'll be making an announcement that he's stepping down. We're still waiting. I haven't seen anything. So, hey, they're not perfect. What a
Yeah,
surprise
right.
for us. Yeah, as if we didn't know that. Oh man, but we've got some other news items that we're gonna pick on a little bit today, or a little bit tonight, as we go through the very first segment of our show. And then we'll get into the real meat of everything and exploring the roots of freedom. And that's what we'll be doing later on tonight. So if you're out there watching, listening, if you're in the chat rooms, let your friends, family, relatives, strangers, your neighbors, let them know to come join in. And we have a phone line. The phone line will be open. It's 561-503-2353. That's 561-503-2353. And you can call in and give us your comments and keep them clean because they are on the air. And you can also join in the chat room and pose any questions and join with us in the conversation, all right? Well, John, the first thing I've got here is Florida legislature moves towards bill targeting illegal immigrants, even though the number of them in Florida is actually down. And this is what I'm getting from the legislative website. The third and last of three fact-finding hearings convened by the Florida Senate Judiciary Committee on a proposed crackdown legislation on illegal immigrations takes place Monday in Tallahassee. To say that the proposed legislation sponsored by House Republican Will Snyder and in the Senate by Bradenton's Mike Bennett is controversial in the Sunshine State would be a bit of an understatement. What it comes down to is the final Judiciary Committee hearing comes after a Pew report released last week that showed a 230,000 drop in Florida's illegal immigration number. That's a
Now, I
dramatic
haven't seen
downturn.
that Pew report, John, but if that's true, then that means we have under a million illegal immigrants now. Because last time I'd seen the number, we had 1.2 million illegal immigrants in the state of Florida.
So that number is going down. My question is, where'd they go? Did they go to Georgia? Was there a census thing happening? What was the incentive? If that number went down, did they become citizens? What happened to that number? 230,000. That's a pretty big number.
That is a huge number, and I don't know. I mean, where would they go? I guess with the economy going, maybe they all went home. I
Now
I
that's
can't
that's
answer
another
that.
that's another report that I've heard in the news several times over the past, let's say, 3 weeks, that there seems to be a trend now for illegals to actually go home. They've come here with such a high expectation of you come to America and they're going to give you all this stuff, and they've come
Hmm.
here and there's no jobs for them either. And they say, well, we might as well go. And so it's possible you could have a percentage of that 230,000 actually went home. Another percentage could have become citizens, have joined into another status somewhere. They've registered somewhere to get off that illegal log roll, or
Right.
they've just gone to another state.
Right.
So
All things are all things under the sun, and I bet that it is a number, a big combination of those. And the interesting thing would be, what is the largest contributing factor? Because we do know that when the Arizona law was coming into play, before it went into effect, there was a big movement out of the state by the illegal immigrants in Arizona. So, uh, would the talk of having a similar law here or anywhere else in the country, for that matter, push people away who really were on the fence as to whether or not it was really a good thing to be in America or not?
well, it definitely brings it into question. Now, another report that I saw was talking about the American manufacturing, and that our overall manufacturing productivity is actually up. It's an increase, and it's on an upswing. There are a lot of positive things that are coming from it. It's just that manufacturing base has really switched. It's changed with all the automations and whatnot. We're still producing goods and products. So America's still producing. We just don't do it the way we used to. So those jobs aren't there.
Right. We still make, an overwhelming number of the world's goods. I mean, far and away more than any other country. I don't know where the number is. I think it's somewhere around 28% of the world's production happens from the United States.
Sounds
The
about right.
issue is that it's increasingly automated. We don't have thousands of people working in factories. I mean, with the let's say the modern steel factory, it went from being I I can't remember the number, but it was around 20,000, I think, people working in a foundry, in a
Hmm.
single steel mill, down to 700 in a completely automated, or as automated as it could be, factory. Same thing. There's the Kia factory in West Point, Georgia, where they make the new Kia Sorento
Yeah.
that you've seen on these commercials, and the factory is automated. It takes 23 hours and like 19 minutes to make a car from scratch. I mean, literally from like billet steel, and most of that process is robots welding, robot painting, and yeah, they hire a lot of high quality, high class jobs that pay a lot of money on all these robot technicians and engineers, but the guy in the paint booth with a brush, or the guy welding on the frame, just isn't there anymore. And when one robot can do the work of a dozen employees, it's the output is going to be there.
When you look at it, American manufacturing and the American job market, you really come down to there's groups, and you have your blue collar and your white collar, and these type of jobs, these are blue collar jobs that we're talking about. These factory workers, that's blue collar. Your white collar, they're still there. That's your upper management. Those are your executives. Those jobs are still in place, and they're plentiful. If you're a white collar worker, you've got plenty to choose from out there. There's lots of work to be done. Blue collar, that's where you're feeling the crunch. The automation is one thing that pulls back from the available job pool. For what's available, if you're a blue collar worker, that pulls back, so you have less positions available. Then you have manufacturing, that is what's left of it has just moved overseas. So now you're pulled back even more. So who's really feeling the pinch is that middle class worker, that blue collar worker. They're the ones really feeling the pinch, and that's
Right.
that's the majority of Americans. The majority of us are in that blue collar demographic.
Yeah, and let's ask the question. Well, why are these jobs moving overseas? I mean, it's really a combination of factors, and a lot of times you'll hear it argued one way or the other. They say, "Oh, well, we're putting jobs overseas because corporations are greedy and they want to make money." Yeah, corporations have their own self-interest and they
What
do
else
want to
is
make a
new?
profit, right? That's true. But what about regulations? What about how I can go to third world country X and I can pollute and pollute and pollute, and I can't do that here anymore because the government says I can't do it. And we can't argue too much and say, yeah, no, I don't have the right to pollute. So there's a balance somewhere in there that says that, it's we're benefiting both from a positive environment, from a workforce where we're not having people die or be maimed in the production process, in the manufacturing process. We are benefiting from these jobs being elsewhere, and those people are benefiting because they have work, they have jobs, whereas before they didn't have anything, or they didn't have the modern industry and infrastructure. So
Well, that's also an argument that's made for foreign aid. Now they're better off because we have been so generous to give to them. Well, we really weren't generous in giving it to them. We never had it to start with. It was all borrowed money from the Federal Reserve.
yeah, I love
It's
that idea, right? The idea that we can be generous with other people's money.
it's like
Uh,
your boss, your employer at work on the job, right? He says to you, "I'm going to take out a credit card in your name, and I'm going to use this credit card to buy the guys down the hall some lunch." That's okay with you, right?
right.
And we're going to do it morning, noon, and night for everyone in the whole city.
But it's
Yeah.
not only that, because it's a little more insidious than that. Not only are we going to buy these people lunch, but they're going to be indebted to us. We expect them to drive us home at night or something.
Yeah.
There's an indebtedness that we expect out of it, but the person who is making the person who the this country or this third party is indebted to is not the person who lent them the money. It's not
Right. Yeah.
ultimately it's not that person.
Because the guy down the corner, he's going back to your boss, going, "Man, you're a great guy. Can I come cut your grass? Can I wash your car for you?" And he's going, "Yeah, sure, that'd be fantastic." Even though all along it's me sitting in the office down the hall. I'm the one footing the bill.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute, come wash my car. Yeah.
Right, right. It's
Oh,
it's terrible, but no, going back to this loss of manufacturing jobs. I mean, there's so many arguments as to why we've lost manufacturing jobs, and a lot of them have weight. I mean, we talk about taxes. Let's analyze taxes and say, well, the U.S., now that Japan has lowered their corporate tax rate, the U.S. has the highest corporate tax rate in the world. Oh yeah, well, if you have loopholes and you go through the loopholes, then it comes down to a reasonable level. But why do we have loopholes? Why should we have loopholes? Why should a company lease something when they could own it? Why would the companies have to go through these loopholes to make a little more money? And when you operate on a margin, when something like 2 or 3% could be the difference between bankruptcy and a bumper year in profit, the loopholes are what makes or breaks the economy. And if a company can move to another country, or or go to Europe, or wherever, the European Union, if they can leave our economy and get that 2 or 3% that's going to make or break them, they're going to do it if they can afford to. It's all about the cost of picking up stakes and moving, because it's not really that easy to move something like an auto manufacturing plant, or even a television manufacturing plant, or something of that nature. But for the long-term stability, if you're looking at a third world country and you say, this country seems pretty basic, seems like they've got a government in order that's going to be around for a couple of decades, let me pick up stakes and move over there. It happens, and that's a big part of why these companies leave our shores, and we lose those jobs.